Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Eagle's Nest, where we have transformational conversations every week with some of the most amazing guests and friends that you will ever encounter. We have friends on with us tonight that are from a time zone 4 hours away from ours in Nova Scotia, clear
Wow.
into the local Sacramento area. And hey, Tam, how are you?
Hi. Miss you.
Miss you too, babe.
Riverside. I'm
Yep,
in Vacaville. Hi. Let's
I
say hi
am.
to some of Jacqueline is
Go
already on,
ahead.
of course, the first one. So hi, Jacqueline. We knew that you'd be the first one. Good to have you. Heather Laurie from Connecticut. Good to see you. Tammy Drake is her mom, and she lives here in Vacaville. Kathy Phillips is here. Hi, Kathy. Good to have you guys on.
Well, Peter Eisses is going to be one of our guests. He and his wife Lisa are going to be coming in to join us in a minute. But Jacqueline, she's saying Peter Eisses, hey coach.
You must
Oh,
be
that's
fun.
funny.
There's Ella Ware from Alabama. Hi, Ella. Good to have you here tonight. Seeing you.
Yeah.
So tonight's
Well,
going to be fun.
it's going to be fun, isn't it, baby?
It is. We have a real long, funny delay, huh? So we're both afraid to start talking because we keep talking over one another. So you'll
Hey,
have to forgive us because there's this funny delay going on. Go
funny
ahead, babe.
delay, Bob. Hey, Bob. Good to have you with us. Thanks for jumping in. So our guests tonight oversee an amazing ministry
Mhm.
program called Emerging Prophets.
Yeah.
And that whole topic of who's a prophet, am I a prophet, could I be a prophet, um, has become more of a central conversational topic in the last 10 years in the church than it has been for years and years. Because,
Mhm.
years and years ago, the church was represented by a handful of men or women that held these roles as prophets in the New Testament church. And some of them are actually pretty well known. But we didn't have a real understanding of these offices being, more broad based. And so while these guys, like Tammy, for example, was raised in an amazing church led by a latter rain prophet. So, back in that time period in the 50s, we had men and women that were usually associated with the Assemblies of God that decided that the fivefold ministry, the fivefold being the pastor, the teacher, the evangelist, a prophet, and apostle, that this fivefold grouping of people was actually foundational for the New Testament church. But most of the New Testament church didn't teach about it and didn't actually believe in it. So these guys just actually started focusing in on this message, and really it exploded from back in that time period. Tammy's pastor was David Schock, and just an amazing guy. He actually had a pointy finger that he would pull out when he was prophesying over people, and yeah, just an amazing man that just spent his life
He was.
just working in the church. He had his own church in Long Beach, but he traveled all over the country, all over the world.
Mhm.
Prophecy, teaching about the prophetic and holding what they called back then,
Presbyter meetings.
yeah, the presbytery meetings, and it just was a powerful time. But we've just had this current, in the last 10 or 15 years, there's been this kind of an explosion of current revelation into how diverse those actual fields are, and how necessary they are. And if they're necessary, then there needs to be more of them, more people filling some of these positions. And so, Dan McCullum's been instrumental in this, in expanding the prophetic ministry to people. And then a friend of ours, Keith Ferrante, has really taken this on to really define what a modern day prophet could be. And really, our friend that's here with us tonight, one of our friends, Margriet Leach, has really worked side by side with Keith from the beginning of Emerging Prophets to just
Right.
build an understanding and build a platform where people can come in, they can kind of learn and figure out, okay, is this what I'm called? Am I called to this office, or am I just a prophetic person? Or do I just love prophecy? And so it's been amazing. And then, yeah, so I want to bring these guys on because Peter and Lisa. What, babe?
I think we should. Yes.
Yeah. So Peter and Lisa have been working side by side with Margriet now for several years as well. And they are like Jacqueline said, hey, coach. So let's go ahead and bring them on. Margriet, we'll add to the screen, and then we'll add in Lisa and Peter. And Lisa and Peter are in Nova Scotia. So they started at 11 o'clock tonight, didn't they?
These guys are heroes because the rest of us would be in bed, but here they are to minister to you guys, to all of us. So thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Hey, Eisses.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Well, listen, why don't you talk to us a little bit about EP and what EP stands for? I've already kind of spoiled that a little bit talking about emerging prophets, but just kind of give us some background about what you're doing and what's happening here. And go ahead, Margriet.
Oh, thank you, Mark, for inviting us on here. We've been on here before. We love being with you, guys. You guys are just great friends and great hosts. And so thank you for allowing us to talk about emerging prophets just a little bit. EP stands for Emerging Prophets, and it's a place where we help you to discover whether or not you're a prophet. So our mandate is, and our mission statement is emerging prophets exist to help develop, and to discover, develop, and deploy reformer and revivalist prophets into every sphere of influence. And so that's been our mandate since the beginning. And it's 8 years. I think we're 8 years in. Wow. Yeah, so this will be the 9th year, and I've been with EP for, not the first year, but ever since that. And it really helps you to discover, like Mark said, are you just a highly prophetic person, or are you actually called to the office of prophet? And I think this is just such an important topic because oftentimes we have this idea of like what a prophet looks like, but then we've only seen like a couple of examples if we're lucky. We see prophets in the church oftentimes, and then sometimes we hear about prophets in the government world. But what does it look like to be a prophet in the business world? What does it look like to be a prophet, that is in the health industry or the arts and entertainment industry? So what does it look like to be a prophet in your own life, like in your family, in wherever it is that you're called to, like within the New Age community? Like, what does that look like? And we don't have examples, so oftentimes we dismiss and immediately disqualify ourselves from being like, oh yeah, I could be called a prophet. But there are definitely things that we look at and help you to discover, like just coming into emerging prophets. Peter, what has this?
Let me put this question up real quick. This just it really fits in with what you just talked about. One thing I would like to learn more about is the fivefold in business and how that operates there. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, that is absolutely something that we go after, that Keith has paved the way for. He actually has a book called Fivefold Entrepreneur. Keith is a prophet, and hopefully he's a prophet because he he started this whole thing. But he is in the business world, and he had to learn how to become an entrepreneur so that he can open up the way for prophets like us to be able to be like, oh yeah, we can be a prophet in business, we can be a prophet in government, we don't just have to be within the church.
Yeah. That's so powerful.
Well, I do. It is, Tam, and I think that one of the things that's been a frustration, for years, we'd be in prophetic conferences and people would be coming up and saying stuff to us like, well, I feel like blah, 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 this is who I am, but, my pastor just doesn't recognize me. Well, we've all wanted to be the big shot in a church, be the prophet in the church. And for most people, that's just not going to be where God is using them. But nobody, until we started to actually explore language and explore possibilities, there was no other place for a person like that to land. And so we lived in perpetual frustration because the pastor wouldn't let us get up on Sundays and prophesy. I'll just drop that one off. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's true, because we think like, oh, this is where our platform is, but that's not necessarily our platform. Like, we want someone else's platform, but we need to discover what our platform is.
Right. And EP unravels a lot of that through classes. A lot of what I've heard is people, they discover their metron, they discover, what makes them tick and what area that when they get into, they're just excited about, and there's a lot of life on, and they just seem to have, great prophetic words and the different things like that. And so what EP does is through these classes, and I've even heard some people, they take some of the classes, again, because they miss so much around the first time that they want to learn again. But there's so many questions answered, and such a powerful time. I know the EP community, the Emerging Prophets community at the mission, is very, very strong and very tight, and it's a family. I love seeing how you function as a family.
Yeah, we really are family, and I think that's a big deal for highly prophetic people and for prophets, because I think that oftentimes we feel very isolated. Like, Mark was saying, hey, my pastor doesn't understand me. They don't get me. I don't get to prophesy. And I feel like prophets and emerging prophets and highly prophetic people are oftentimes very misunderstood because they're just slightly different. And so they're very sensitive, and they may not seem sensitive, but they're very sensitive to, the atmosphere, and they've got really sensitive hearts. And so there's just a fine tuning of things that happens in emerging prophets and communities, a big deal, because, they very much resonate with, who was it, Peter? Was it Elijah who said, I'm the only one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm the only one. And so they talk about, they feel like I'm the only one, I'm the only prophet here, even though there might be 700 other prophets somewhere else. But, and the enemy does a really good job of making us feel isolated. So community is a huge deal, to actually be in a community that understands you and gets you, and where you can actually talk about some of the strange things that happen to us as prophetic people.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes you're like, oh, I can share everything that the Lord is doing, and the encounters that I'm having, and I have lightning in my house, and then you share that with someone, and you're like, oh, wait, no, you were not the person to talk to that about, right? Because they look at you like you're being a third head, and you're like, oh, wow, you love Jesus, but we don't resonate on the same level. It's not the levels, but it's, we don't resonate. Like, you don't understand. So that isolation is a big deal, because then you're like, I have all these experiences, but I don't know how to process them. I don't have anyone to talk to them about. And that, what ends up happening is they go over to the psychics.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Because there's just somebody did
talk to, and they actually get answers. There may not be the right answers,
right.
But they get answers for some of their questions, and they actually have people to relate to.
Yeah.
So, one thing isolation does as a prophet, prophets, I think the isolation thing of making them how they don't feel a part of things also quiets their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the more that they feel misunderstood and not heard, they begin to pull back and go hide in the cave, if you will,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we talk about in EP or emerging prophets is getting healthy so that you can be heard.
That's good. That's a good one. It doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No. We can't shortcut the journey, but we can help accelerate the journey. And so on average, it takes about 15 years for a prophet to come into the office of prophet. And so we actually take our experiences, Keith's experiences, Peter and Lisa's experience, my experience, and we help you on the journey and help fine tune the areas where you need to be fine tuned. And so That's just part of what we do. And so we help accelerate you on that journey if you're willing, to go on that journey with us. So yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
How about you, Peter? What have you got to say to all this?
Oh wow, this is so true. I think there's a really big thing that we need to all recognize, and I know I didn't, and it's that there's a difference between prophetic and prophet.
Right.
Now, all prophets are prophetic, but not all prophetic people are prophets.
True.
And that's a really big distinction that we need to remember. All of us are called to prophesy, but not all are called to the office of prophet. So somebody with the gift of prophecy, they sometimes, we've had it in the way we've, kind of been trained in the last number of years that, they can prophesy. Well, they must be a prophet. I've seen that so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the case. And a prophet doesn't always prophesy.
Yeah.
Like even in our classes, there are people in our classes that can out prophesy me any day of the week.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Their gift is stronger than mine, the gift of prophecy. And so I think that it's really important that we make that distinction.
Yeah.
And recognize that. And so when you're on this journey with us, we help you sort that out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you kind of a prophet to the prophets, because you train and you teach and you lead by example and you help people along the journey that have all these questions, and then all these feelings too, and these emotions, of how to process those and how to bring some of those under control, that you don't necessarily say everything you see, hear, and feel and sense.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's really amazing. I think one of the things that you talked about, Margriet, when you were introducing this whole subject was were the two words called reformer and revivalist. And I think you just kind of blew right through those as part of your definition. But I think that those are powerful statements of personal identity, in this whole process. What are we actually involved in? Mm-hmm. Are we here to bring reformation? Are we here to bring revival and open up the portals of revival and reformation into business, into the seven mountains? Or are we here to bring self-recognition and stature to ourselves? And I think those are huge big questions and huge answers that the would-be's moving through things actually need to address and confront, because at some point in our life we're all confronted with those kinds of questions. What are our motives? What's behind the wheel here that's causing this thing to move? And so these are real valuable, just those words choices, what you're called to do, but in the area of being reformers and revivalists. I think those are huge words in your opening statement.
Wow, that's really good, Mark. And it actually speaks a little bit about, the role of a prophet. I mean, obviously it's one of the things found in Ephesians 4:11 when you were talking about the fivefold, right? But so when you're talking about the fivefold, they all have a job to do. It's to equip the church, right? So, but then, that's not our only job. Our job isn't to prophesy necessarily, but it is to bring breakthrough, because prophets see foundations and see, the structure of foundations and where it needs to shift and change. And so that can become a little bit of a frustration for them sometimes, because we want it to change faster than the church is ready for, or the world is ready for. But we're supposed to be the ones that are trendsetters and speaking to cultures and speaking into culture and, the answers and the solutions, and not just echoing what the problem is, but what is the Lord saying?
Yeah.
What is the Lord speaking to this time, to this season? So you're right, Mark. It's a pretty big mandate, in what we do,
Mhm.
and it's a big whatever you're called to, whether it's to the office of prophet, or you're called to be a mom, or you're called to be, an intercessor. It's all a big mandate. And I just want to say, don't feel like you want to have my life, or Peter's life, or Keith's life, or, Chris Valentin's life, or Stacey Campbell's life, because we all have a cost that comes along with what we do. And you would not be able to handle the costs that I have to pay for what I am actually functioning in right now. Just like I can't handle the cost that you had to pay, Mark, for where you're at. Like, so God wired us so uniquely and designed us so uniquely that he knows exactly what it is that we're supposed to be called to.
That's so good.
That's
excellent.
That is
there.
That is so good. We could just stop tonight on that one. So yeah, I love the comparison thing in the church. I think it's so healthy. That was sarcasm at its finest. So Lisa, you've been very quiet tonight, Lisa.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm just listening, Peter and Margriet. They do most of the training. I actually have listened to a lot of this stuff, but I am going through CERT now myself. So that certification is one of the programs that EP does online. And yeah, I'm learning a lot now to hands-on, like for my own heart and stuff. So yeah, it's really good. Highly recommend it. It isn't for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
What does that mean?
Well, there's things that the Lord just reveals or wants to work on or process through. And so, yeah.
We have this funny statement in EP, and it goes like this. Whatever we talk about, the joke started with Keith, and it was whatever Keith talks about is what we're going to have to deal with that week. And we weren't trying to like, oh, Keith, no, it became true. It was like, oh no, Keith's talking about this. We're going to deal with this, and it happened, and it was a prophetic thing, really, is what was going on, because that he was actually leading out with breakthrough for us.
Yeah.
In an area, in a direction that we needed, and then it would happen. We watched it happen again and again and again, and it still happens. And it happens in certification and in our other programs too. And where we watch this, so that's what Lisa's referring to, where you will be talking about a certain topic, discussion, like, oh, yeah, that's so good, and then it comes up in your life, and you're like, oh,
all right, that's so good.
Uh-oh, too close to home.
I think when I'm thinking about this, you guys, what's hilarious about all of this is because that's how Keith developed an entire curriculum for EP. Because he would talk about something, you guys, it would all happen, and he'd go, oh, well, I need to write that down. That was pretty good.
Life experience,
week by week, yes, you guys actually helped to create all of the curriculum just by
living life.
Tag teaming with Keith's breakthrough anointing.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Doing
life.
Wonderful.
I think that's how we learn most things. Doing it right and doing it wrong, and figuring out, which one is which and for which season. And you have to start somewhere. You've got to move forward. You can't just stay in one place, because really in the kingdom, there's no such thing as just in one place. We're either moving forward or we're going backwards. And so, you step out, and God's not afraid of our mistakes.
right.
And that's a thing I appreciate about EP, is that you guys aren't afraid of the mistakes. Of the people can learn. They have room to learn and to grow. And, they don't sit around every class and just prophesy. there's a lot of people think you get in there and, oh, you just prophesy all the time. No, you don't just get in there and get prophetic words. I mean, that does happen. But it's training and it's teaching and it's protocol, talking about protocols and how to be kind, how to keep your mouth shut. And actually you think, I'm a prophet. I speak all the time. No, healthy prophets know when to speak and when to be quiet.
Yeah.
So good. Space for that.
Yeah, we absolutely go over sensitivity training, not just being sensitive to Holy Spirit, because sometimes we think that, that's what that means. Oh, I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive. Yeah, you're sensitive to Holy Spirit, but the way that you're communicating is not really very sensitive. So people have to understand that there's a difference between the two. So we go over sensitivity training. We go over, are you teachable, or do you think you're just teachable, or you say you're teachable and not, or do you invite input? Like, are you vulnerable, and how vulnerable are you? Are you spilling your guts all over the place? Are you, going healthy vulnerability? So there are a lot of things that we actually go after that people don't realize how they're hurting their favor. And so, then we're training them in those areas so that they can actually get healthy, so they can be heard. That's why we say that, is because there's a lot that actually we put out there. We don't know that it's actually hurting us. Yes. And the way that we communicate, the way that we talk to people, the way that, we insert ourselves into conversations, the way that we prophesy sometimes, or we just don't know protocol, right? And so one of the big things for emerging prophets is that it starts at home.
Amen.
You're a prophet to your household first.
Yes. I so agree with that.
And that often doesn't mean you prophesy over your family.
Yeah, you guys clarify that, because then that person thinks, well, I'm the prophet in this home, and I'm going to prophesy over you, and kind of lord that over everybody, and that is not healthy, right there, is it?
No.
What does that look like in the home, Peter?
Well, for me, I had to learn a whole lot and made a lot of mistakes along the way. That statement comes with me learning that that's not a good idea. But what happens is it really, like, you start to embody like the changes, the healthy messages that we talk about. You start to realize, oh, I need to make some adjustments. Oh, and you start to see, oh, I'm unhealthy there, or I had bad teaching there, or I believed something, a lie, but I didn't know.
Right.
I had shaky foundations.
Sure.
Oh, I need to make some adjustments here. And you make those adjustments, and then you start to see a change. You start to see a change in not only you, but you start to see the change in others around you. I oftentimes didn't say very much. I would tell Lisa lots of stuff, but I didn't say too much to a lot of other people around me. But then they started to notice the change, and that's how it starts.
Wow.
And Lisa can speak to it because she was
Lisa.
there watching me.
The process.
Yeah, I think for us, like when Peter started out, I don't know,
4 years
ago, we still had a high schooler.
Yeah.
The last one, I think. So we have 4 kids. There was still one in high school, and so quite busy. And he took on EP, and the Lord, I would say, made a way all the time for the classes and homework and all the things. So really, I don't have time. That excuse really goes out the window, because when the Lord really made a way. Like August to November is our busiest time for our business. And so that's right when Peter started EP. And we've seen God make the space every time. And so I think even in that way, a prophet in your home, like the Lord will make a way for the time. Yeah. I think one of the ways prophets show up in the home is, for me, not saying that I'm a prophet, but I am highly prophetic. I'm in the journey. I know. We'll see. I'm in the journey. Is sometimes I'm a knower more than any of the other feelers or anything like that. I'm a knower. And there would just be things that would happen in our house that I would know, or I would know before they happened. And it gave me opportunity to pray. It gave me like antennas to like, oh, and especially because I worked with high schoolers for 8 years, I would know things.
Mhm.
And it showed up that way, but I didn't have to be like, oh, the Lord said this. The Lord showed what was going to be or what was happening, and then I could bring kingdom, to the situation. And so it doesn't, I think a prophet in your home looks quite different than one that stands on a stage
Yeah.
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
But very, very needed, very, very needed. And now our kids, if Peter gets the prophet hat on, our kids will be like, because we've versed them, they know, they hear the stuff in the background. They'll be like, Dad, are you talking to us like our dad? Or are you talking to us like a prophet right now?
Oh boy.
They know the difference now,
Yeah.
which
That's
is very fun.
Yeah. It's amazing that they just, they found that out and discovered that they can hear the difference,
Mhm. Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, I
Or
think that's really good. Are you talking to us, Dad? How do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. Those are great examples, and I wrote down, in fact, in the comments over here, a knower, you get advanced information. You can receive advanced information. You can hit it with prayer before something happens, and you have solutions. You can sometimes have solutions prior to actually needing them because your information came in advance of actually, stuff before it's actually happening. So listen, family, these are great tools. We have these. This is why I think we changed our name of the Eagle's Nest to Transformational Conversation. Because if we pay attention in these conversations, we have some powerhouse nuggets that come flying through here. And so, yeah, that was good, Lisa.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the testimony of your lives walking through this is the most powerful one that you can have. It's the greatest tool to learn. One of the greatest tools to learn is right there. And, learning to be good listeners and to let others have a voice. Simple principles like that, they sound simple, but maybe aren't so simple, and that we don't realize we're not doing. Those help to prepare you. All of those things, help to prepare you on your journey of being a prophet, being a good listener.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Not always the voice, right?
Yeah, it's true. You have to know how to lay down that prophet at home.
Yeah.
You can't, you can't be prophet when you're telling your kids to go take out the trash or, to clean their room. You could, but it's not going to work very well for you. I'll share an example with you. When I was in the process of EP, going through EP, it was like 5 or 6 years ago. My oldest girls sat me down, and we were in the middle of a conversation, and they said, Mom, when you get mad, you get really scary. And I was like, no, I don't, and I kind of wanted to blow it off. And I got up and I started walking down the hallway, and the Lord actually just stopped me in my tracks and said, you need to go sit down and talk and have a conversation with your kids about this. And so what I realized through that conversation is that, when I get passionate, whether it's in a good way or in a not so good way, that my prophet actually comes on. And so there's a different weight to my words, and that becomes scary to people if it's in a negative way. And so if you don't know that's happening, then, you can actually hurt the people that you love the most. And so, you need to know when your prophet is on or when it's off, or whatever it is you're called to, whatever it is, you're incredibly gifted in or wired, the way that you're wired. So, that helped me to see, like, when I become scary, when my prophet is in a moment of frustration and it's unchecked. So when I get frustrated now, I have to remember, okay, Margriet, take your prophet hat off. You know, that's something that we talk about in EP. Okay, I'm taking my prophet hat off now. I got to be mom, right?
Yeah.
I have to be mom, or I have to be wife, or I have to be neighbor. Prophet cannot be on. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a prophetic word from a prophet and the prophetic word from a person who is not necessarily a prophet, but highly prophetic. There's a different weight on it. And so when you're, you know, when you're talking, you're actually putting that weight of prophet on there. It's an interesting journey to learn how to be prophet at home. And, you know, Keith talks about this all the time, is that Reformation starts at home. So if you want to learn how to be a reformer prophet or a revivalist prophet, you have to start at home.
Yeah, that is so true. So good.
Okay, here you go. Oh, the scary prophet eyes. Here's Eisses just fessing up here. Yes. Eisses just jumping on her sword. Yes, that's me too. Yes. This is good. My favorite so far tonight, I think, out of all the comments, is scary prophet eyes.
Well, you know, we just got home. Margriet and Mark and I got home from School of the Prophets in Reading, and I saw some of those eyes there. Did you guys?
Yes.
Like, whoa, those aren't prophet eyes. Those are let's do a sozo right now. It's like they think they've got prophet eyes, and I'm like, no, honey, no, not yet.
No, you still have too many friends. We need to clean house here for just a minute.
It's so fun. You know, that was such a powerful time, and wow, we heard from so many that they felt like it was the best one so far, and it just really did feel like a fresh wind. Even though some of the material was the same, there was a lot that was fresh and new and very challenging to go to the next place, you know, to excel. And we just came back tired, but revived.
Yeah, that's good, Tam. I think
grueling schedule, but it's a good grueling.
I think that on Margriet, you did a community group. Tam and I did one as well. And I think, you know, when you ask the question, they asked the question in one of the general sessions, how many are here for the very first time? Yeah. And it was, I would just without counting the people, I think it was at least 50% of the people at this conference. Wow. And so, and then when you have your community groups where you break that conversation down into little pieces, like, okay, what are you feeling? What's going on here? The majority of the people that come to School of the Prophets are actually exploring, okay, am I a prophet?
Right.
You know, they actually want to know these things. And yet you come to a conference that's amazing. 4 to 5 days, actually starts Monday night, but it's 4 full days of conversation, you know, teaching and stuff. But there's not the same level of intimate conversation, intimate one-on-one time like you guys have developed with emerging prophets.
So true.
And I think that's one of the big factors missing is we go to these big conferences and think that that's going to answer my questions.
Right.
And I don't think it actually does. I think that's why the community groups in these sessions, we had like 40 in our group. And I think that's why those are so valuable, because people get a chance to have conversations about these things that you can't have in an auditorium with 700 people in it. And so
there's a lot learned and there's a lot given in the main, sessions. I mean, I gleaned so much information, but in the community groups, you can get in and kind of dissect more, and people can hear more intimate stories and situations, and they can input their voice, and it becomes just a community. Well, it's called community groups, and it really does.
Yeah.
It's in that intimate place where you can get down to some nitty-gritty stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Tammy and Mark. It's so good, and it's so, you're right. Just a conference won't actually transform your life most of the time. Like that's some of what I love about Emerging Prophets is that, you go to a class, but we don't ask you to give up a whole week or a whole month of your time. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but
Right.
I feel like that for a lot of people, just being, having to work it out in everyday life. Okay, so you come and meet once a week if you're local and not necessarily online. Only that if you're in a local school, you meet once a week, and then you have to work out all the stuff during the week. You have to learn how to live, what we talk about being healthy and about being sensitive and about, loving people and not putting your political opinion on social media and yada, yada, yada. You have to learn to live it out. And so I think that's actually, a really good way to do it. And it's very impactful because you have to, like, there's that wrestle, you have to work through. So.
Wow.
It's community is so important. Like what you were saying, Tammy, it's so incredibly important. And in EP, we stress that.
Yeah, you do.
The importance of community and how to process things out, to process this journey out. There's so much to think about, to talk about, to discover, to attain to reach toward, and you need community. You desperately need community in order to walk this out properly. Yeah. And you cannot do this alone.
Right.
So, if anybody out there listening, you're feeling like, hey, I feel this is what I want to do. You can't do this alone, friends. I know you probably tried. Listen, I did. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Community brings in kind of living it out in everyday life through emotions and feelings and questions and, opening the scriptures and in worship. And it brings a fuller revelation. And it also reveals to yourself, like, who you really are and how you operate, because sometimes we just look at the example before us and we think that we're supposed to be that. Well, although there's a lot to glean, there's still a you that, needs to emerge forward, So EP does a lot of that. People really get strong and healthy in their identity, and then they pursue that in their destiny. It's powerful.
Yeah, it is. And community is a huge deal to both. I feel like just about everyone that joins EP, because it's a protection.
Yeah.
I used to be very anti-community. I'm sure that you heard my story a little bit, but I used to be very anti-community. Like I was like, that's the big it's the big buzzword, and it's a bad word because I don't like the way that's being exampled. I have my 2 friends. Thank you very much, and I'm good. I didn't know what I was missing out on.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like, honestly, if I had not gone through EP and God had not actually brought me through that shift of like, okay, community's good, I don't know if I'd be on here. I don't know if I'd be friends with you guys, because I was really okay just being okay with myself, being okay with my husband, my little family, my 2 really good friends. And that's all I thought I needed, but I actually needed more.
Wow. And look how your life has expanded in that revelation, Margriet. Yeah. Your life has expanded a lot. And it stepped out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't see that part in you now at all.
Thank God.
Oh no, we like being Margriet.
So I think, right now, Margriet, what you just did was just behind the scenes, you just blew up stuff. You're going to get text messages now, and you're going to get Facebook messages. Am I one of the 2?
I'll tell you, none of you were the 2. So there you go.
Oh, it's not us. No. Everybody behind the scenes that thinks, well, I've been Margriet's friend for like 15 years. It must be me. Margriet, was I one of them?
So Craig Ferris, he says, so you saying we can be friends, Margriet? Craig said,
I don't know. Craig's a little shady, so he has to go through the vetting process.
you have to really, really pray about that. Fast for a month,
Yes.
Fasting too.
Yes.
Well, we're about at 40. We got 15 minutes left. So
Yes.
what I would like for you guys to do, this has been great conversation about prophets and protocols and really piques people's interest. But can you tell people what you guys offer, where they can get a hold of everything, how they register?
Yeah.
And let's take the last 10 minutes to prophesy over people.
Sure. Absolutely. So they can go to the website emergingprophets.com. And so we have a section there for local schools as well. And I think that Macy is Macy is our admin, Keith's daughter. And so she's updating with all the local schools. So you can, we have local schools that are being raised up, because part of our mandate in EP is to actually raise up 1 million prophets. And so part of it is that people have to do that. We can't be the only ones. So we're raising up different schools, and that's part of the certification process. But we have a local school here in Vacaville, California, and we have a taste and see this coming Wednesday. Oh, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. at the Mission in Vacaville. And we have a school in Kona, in Colorado Springs, in Texas, in New Braunfels. And we have one in the UK. We have one in Southern California. We're also opening up one in Oregon this year. In the fall, another one in Southern California, and one in Arizona. And we're in January, we'll have one in Jamaica and one in Canada. Yeah. So we're spreading it out, and I know that the in-person is especially what people want. But if there's not an EP school near you, you can at least get started, with a master class and find out more information. But if you want to message me, or you want to message Peter and Lisa, or even Mark and Tammy, they can direct you our way. We would love to have a conversation with you about that, and what that looks like. But a taste and see is like, hey, come out and check it out and see what this is all about. So, yeah, I think, did I hit it all? I think I hit it all.
Did you get it all there, Peter?
Yeah, you did good, Margriet.
And we've been to some of the meetings, and they're just so full and rich and fun, and they bring good snacks too.
Snacks. Come on, we love snacks.
Snacks are good.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So just check it out, and if you feel like God's prompting your heart, just let us know, and we can lead you to the right people. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
We'd love to do that. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Let's go in and let's pick out some names here, you guys, and let's prophesy over some of these names.
Okay, let me look through the names here. Peter and Lisa, do you guys have anyone yet?
No,
I do.
Okay.
Craig Ferris, are you still on here? What I'm kind of seeing, Craig, is a wheel, and there's lots of spokes, and I feel like there's some new opportunities coming for you, and they're gonna look a little bit maybe not connected to things that you've been doing, but on a wheel and a spoke in the center, they all connect together. And so I think there's some new opportunities for you, Craig, coming, and just be on the lookout for some new opportunities, and don't be alarmed if they're outside of your box, because at the center they're very much connected to what you're about.
Wow. Good work, Craig.
Yeah.
Let us know how that resonates with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for Toby Martinez, I believe that's how you say it. Toby Martinez is just what I'm going to say. Toby, what I saw for you is that the Lord is actually opening up a new season, and I hear the word castle, and I just see the Lord opening up your castle season, and I feel like that this is a time where the Lord is actually bringing you into the place that you have been looking for and have been desiring. And it's actually been a place where he's been talking to you about. And I feel like this next season is actually going to open up to that. And I see that there are going to be a couple of promises that the Lord has been talking to you about over the last few years that are going to come to fruition in this season. And it's going to open up doors to the call that he has put on your life. And I feel like there's been a time where you've been like, God, is this ever going to happen? And the Lord's just saying, hold on, just hold on, hold on, because it is coming and that there is hope. And so that season is opening up now. Like it's not, 2 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. No, that season is opening up now. And it's going to be an entryway, a gateway to the things that God has been speaking to you about. And I actually also see a book that is coming out of this season for you. And so I just bless you, Toby, with that.
Wow. That's good. Anybody have anything to add to that one, or you have a new one?
I got a new one.
Okay. Good word.
Heather, Lore, is it Lore or Lori? I'm not
Lori
sure.
is how you pronounce it.
Lori. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So Heather, I see the call on your life as a mom. I see you as to mother people. Like there's moms are always called the mother people, but then there's the call of a mom, and it goes deeper. I feel like there's a deeper call that's more, you're more than just mom to your own kids. If you have kids, I'm not sure, but if you do, I think it's deeper. And I see this, you mothering, like a mothering movement, starting a healthy mothering movement, that bringing mothers into their destiny of understanding their motherhood of who they are as moms, and bringing their life and fruition through your story, through who you are and what you bring, what you embody, and what the Lord has put and deposited in you. And I see you bringing light, like fresh life, Heather, fresh life, like incredible fresh life to a mothering movement that is stepping in to change the trajectory and the direction of where this world is going. And it starts with this, it's going to start for you partially, will start with this mothering movement that is going to be that's going to be birthed from you. So I just bless you with that, Heather.
Wow. That's a good word. That's a good word for you, Heather, because I know you. And here's a prophetic word for you, Heather, that your pumpkin lattes are coming soon. She loves those.
I want to just point out something here. When Peter was just speaking, that I felt the shift in how he was speaking. So he was talking to you as a father, and he was speaking to your identity as a mother. And then there was a shift where he shifted from speaking to you with that father heart to the prophet heart. And I don't know whether you guys paid attention to that or felt that go by, but that's sometimes what our kids pick up. We're talking and having a conversation, everything is fine, but there's something in our voice that goes, and they go, oh, okay, I just been laser punched. That was really good. Yes, good.
Super good. Anybody else?
Yeah. Isa, you're just particularly being highlighted tonight. Like, I feel like you're always highlighted, but even more so tonight. And I just see the favor of the Lord just opening up fresh doors for you. And I think that Isa moved away, right?
Mm-hmm. Her name's Eisses.
Eisses, sorry.
Colorado.
That's okay. So I did remember that you moved away. So I was just double checking, and apologies for mispronouncing your name. Eisses. So yeah, I just see the Lord is opening up doors of favor for you. And I feel like there's doors of opportunity that are going to be presented to you. And I feel like this is actually a season of permission for you, where the doors are there, but the Lord's not going to tell you which one to pick because it's your choice. Mm-hmm. And so You get to choose. You get to choose because he partners with you and you're a friend of the Lord.
Yeah.
You're a friend of God. And so you get to choose. Oh, I feel the weight on that friend of God. You're a friend of God and you get to choose. And you're not like, there's a choice in what you get to do. And so once you choose which door you want to go through, then he'll begin speaking to you about that door and what you're going through and what needs to happen in the strategy. But don't be alarmed if you're like, I have all these opportunities and I don't know which one to pick because the Lord's not speaking. Well, the Lord's not speaking because he's waiting on you because you're his friend.
Wow. That's so good. And that is so true about her. I know. Well, that's very good. Great.
Let me get down here in the comments and see if I picked up any. Well, Ella just going, whoa, okay, there's fire on the channel tonight. Ella, we at the Eagle's Nest, we sure love you. You,
Yes, we do.
You know, Jacqueline, Heather, you guys are such good friends, and yeah.
We love that you join us. You guys got anything else?
Is it Elisa Maisel? Is that how you say your name? Yeah, I think it's. Oh my God, it's not. Eliza Maisel. I just. Yep, that's her. I just. You're exiting a season of might as well. You're entering into a season of dreaming and adventure and celebration. And so you can just lay down the might as well and be like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is where the Lord and I are partnering. The Lord just trusts you so much that you can just partner and grab hold, and you're just entering a season of celebration and dreaming. So I just bless you in Jesus' name.
Wow.
So this is also our online our group in the comments. Ruby, Jacqueline, you were highlighted to me tonight, so I wanted to share that I see the word favor over you, and I also see the word breakthrough.
Wow.
And so I think we concur with that favor and breakthrough over you, Jacqueline, and we just speak and release that right now in Jesus' name. Thanks, Ruby. That was awesome.
Yeah, Ruby, you're awesome.
There was somebody here that said they were coming to taste and see.
I think it was Monica.
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 Yeah, Monica.
Okay, you saw it go by. Okay, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, that's great.
Where, Monica?
Do you know where Monica's from?
She's from the Sacramento area. She used to go to the church that we used to go here in Sacramento. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 59. We've got 1 minute left. Can we fit one more in?
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to prophesy over Monica. That's funny.
Oh, good. Let's go.
So it was funny that's coming up. I see you, Monica, as a gatherer, and because of not just because of that statement, but I see there's an anointing on the gatherer. You gather as an anointing. You've kind of looked at it as like, oh, that's just what I do. It's just I just like friends. It's just the thing, kind of thing. But no, I feel like there's an anointing on your gathering, and I see you like gathering like more intentionally in this next season, where there's an intentionality to your gathering, where you're like that person, and that person, and yes, that person need to be together. They need to gather together. I see you like drawing people and putting pieces together of people's their ability to be together. And there's breakthrough that's going to come as a result of the gathering that happens as a result of you gathering people together. So bless you with that, Monica.
Wow, that's awesome.
I want to let me put a couple of testimonies up. Heather said, yeah, I just did that today with the son. So that's so true. You know, you talked about, you know, being a mom, being a spiritual mom. Isa, yes, amen. Good, timely, thank you.
That's awesome.
It's always good to hear the feedback.
It is. A little feedback is good.
And Jacqueline even said she said, Ruby Lay, I received that. So the word that Ruby gave online in the comment section is a blessing
Yeah.
to Jacqueline. So that's awesome.
It is so good, huh?
Yeah. And guys, wow, we are at the end. These go so fast because we have such a good time. So this has really been awesome. Let me just make a quick announcement before we say goodbye to our friends. So September the 2nd at the Mission, we're going to be having what's called Empowered Prayer. It's going to be from 9 to 1 in the hangar. And it is a free event, but you do need to register, and you can register at imissionchurch.com. So if you're interested in going, please register so we can prepare for how many will be there. There is no childcare. We have Mo and Lucretia. Arnold will be two of our speakers, Kim Marino, and then Mark and I. And we just have some great teaching planned for you, some activations and encounters and actual prayer time. It's going to be a great mini school. So we'd love to have you all join us. If you're from the region and the area, please come and join us. We'd love for you to come to that.
I think Tam, one of the things that we've been able to do is to make prayer, that whole concept of prayer, make that approachable for people. Break it down into from like ooh to hey, these are some practical ways this can work in your life. And we've actually seen breakthrough in so many people. They've one of my favorite stories is our friend. And you said you talked to her that one time about praying out loud, and she'd always just thought her prayers, which is great.
Yeah.
But then she started speaking her prayers out loud, and she came back and went, "Whoa, I've been a Christian for like 50 years. I've never done that, man. That has really helped me become more bold."
Yeah.
Yeah, just little things,
We have someone asking, do you have online EP sessions, or is it only in person?
We have both. So we have local schools, and then we have online. So we only have a limited amount of local schools at the moment. So if you wanted to come and join us, then there's an online master class as well, which would be a really great way to get involved, because there are a lot of people that feel like they don't have prophetic community where they're at. And so this is, one of those places where you can actually get that. So, so Jerry, I hope that answers your question.
That's good. And
I thought it was a great answer. So, Tammy, did you put that comment up?
I did. But
okay, Margriet, can you go to the comment section and see if you can post a comment too? Because this is new for me.
It did.
So just see if you can click on a comment and see if it'll come up.
Okay.
It used to be the only Mark, and I couldn't do it if we were separate. But tonight I could do it. It worked.
You've done that a couple times, Tam, and I've seen the comments and thought, I don't think I put that up there.
How did that get up there?
I can't do anything with it. Nope.
You can't.
I can't.
Well, somehow I don't know why it knows Tammy can do that.
Okay, we'll figure that out later.
That's good. Hey, this is how we, half the stuff we do online, I have no clue about until sometime later when somebody tells me. Don't be laughing at me like that, Peter.
Well, because I'm laughing because I do the same thing.
That's how we learn, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. 3.5 years ago, we had no clue. We just had our little phone propped up against something and just talked. And we learned a lot along the journey. That's how you are. It is an AP, right?
Yeah.
Amen. Well, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. And I know you guys got to be exhausted and ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
So we wish you happy sleeping.
Thank you.
Rest, godly dreams and visions. And thanks again. We love you so much.
And a great harvest, man. You guys have to be coming up on that right away, don't you?
Yeah, we're starting. We started already.
Amen.
Wow, you guys.
God
That'd be awesome to be there, to be part of that.
Yeah. Amen.
Thank you.
We love you guys. Thank you. And all of you that joined into the conversation online, we love having you do that. It's just been a blast tonight. And we will see you all again
Next.
real soon.
All
Good
right.
night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye.